Hi everyone, I'm the CEO of Codefest Girls. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram. That would be absolutely fantastic. And we are talking today about time for change in 2020 and what a year 2020 has been. Obviously, we've had a huge amount of change at Codefest Girls, but to give you some idea about what we do as a company, we are designed to give women the space, tools, and skills to become exceptional developers and to break into the technology industry. So our tagline is giving women the fair advantage. We provide different types of courses, and we do that for free. So we provide courses in web dev, in Python, and in SQL, which is the foundation for any data science or data engineering path. We offer this free education virtually, but we also offer it in over 50 universities across the UK. And we don't just offer education, we work with over 40 companies to help women, once they have that educational layer, create a career path and break into different careers at our partner companies. So we're very much about bringing industry together with free education so that women can be given what they need in order to excel within the technology industry. What's been the impact so far of Codefest Girls? Well, we've trained well over 18,000 women. By the end of this year, that's set to hit 20,000 women. We have very, very ambitious plans for 2021. We plan to scale our offering exponentially. We offer different types of content as well. So we offer mass open online courses. We also offer virtual 16-hour classrooms and certifications. We offer face-to-face classrooms. And just recently, we've added an additional layer of education so that women can get 12 weeks of training in order to get jobs at some fantastic companies. So if you are interested in free coding education, and you're between the ages of 18 to 23, you're in full-time education, or you've been in full-time education 2 years previously, please do check out our website. You're eligible for all of our courses. If you fall outside of that criteria, we also offer courses for you. You will have to pay a part of the price, but a lot of that is subsidized. So please check that out on our website. Like I said, we work with well over 50 employers, 50 companies. Some of our biggest employers include the likes of Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, to name but a few. And about 80% of the women that we educate for free end up pursuing a career in technology, which is a really, really interesting stat. So at the moment, if a woman just experiences coding education, around 60% of those women want to enter the industry. What we've noticed is when we couple that education with really practical tips and techniques as to how to go to the next stage, when we couple it with industry, and we have industry and entrepreneurs and founders talk to you about the way forward and the best way to do that, what we find is that figure tends to jump closer to around 90%. So approximately about 80% overall of our women want to pursue a career in tech. Like I mentioned, we've got a presence in well over 50 universities. That means that our courses are run on campus in 50 universities. Outside of that, we have 41 centres across the UK where you can learn how to code. To give you a little bit about an idea about our community, we're incredibly diverse. So we've got 58 different nationalities across our community. We've got well over 50% BAME heritage as well. So it's quite rare, I think, for a community of coders and female technologists in the UK to be so diverse. around about 77% of our community, so that's a huge chunk, is starting their career in tech. They're just starting out. We're very much a community for people trying to break in, people trying to learn, and early careers. About 80% of the community have completed a coding course in the last year. So that's a really, really big indicator of engagement. A lot of our women are incredibly, engaged around upskilling, taking more courses, and the majority of the women in our community are there to learn in order to get a job. So I hope that gives you some stats about what's happening right now. So what I wanted to do is take some live stats from you and some live voting. Let me just press escape for a second on this and move back to Hopin. I wanted to do some live stats from you, and we collect this data point across any event that we do. So I would really like you, this is a bit ambitious what we're trying to do here on a virtual event, but if possible to get your mobile phones out. Yeah, I've said it, I've broken the golden rule. I'm asking you to get another device out during presentation. And I've also broken the golden rule because I'm going to flip between screens. If you could go to this website, either on your mobile or on your desktop, live.voxvote.com, and enter that PIN number, we'll be able to run a couple of live polls, and you will be entered into our live data channels, which we collect over every single event. So if we could just go back to the original question, what percentage of women work in tech? And we're going to make that live now. And I hope you can all see my screen. So we're starting to vote now. If you can vote on live.voxvote.com, and the PIN number is 35958. Oh, we're getting some good results in here. This pleases me. We're all on this website and we're all voting so we can do this live. We're going to leave one more minute for people to vote. Ah, interesting. Anyone else voting? I'm going to give you 5 seconds. I feel like this is a strangely live, techie X factor where many things could go wrong. Okay, so largely, let me do refresh one more time. Largely, you've got this right. What the answer should say is less than 20%, less than 10%, less than 30%, and less than 40%. So you were right around about that 20% figure. The actual answer is 17%, as I'm sure you all already know. I think that's quite a frightening statistic, to be perfectly honest, for no other reason than we are dealing with a situation right now where there's such a level of gender imbalance in technology, both in organizations and for female entrepreneurs and the startup scene, that we're actually starting to see consequences to the lack of gender balance. So for example, in the creation of product, when products are being put together, they're being put together by men, and they're not taking into account 50%, of potential consumers that exist out there that are in fact women. So that's just one issue around, for example, the creation of product. Other issues include things like organizational culture. What happens when you have such a level of imbalance, particularly around tech? You end up creating somewhat of a boys' club. When you create a boys' club, you create a very particular culture where it's harder and harder to attract women and to retain women. They simply do not feel comfortable in that environment. So a lot of organizations right now are making very significant commitments to things like 50-50 gender split by 2025. there's a lot of work to be doing around that. But what that does mean, in my humble opinion, is there is a huge amount of opportunity for women who want to enter the technology industry right now, particularly within organizations. I think startups is a slightly different scenario, which we'll cover in a minute. But I certainly think when it comes to organizations, we're seeing some real headway being made, particularly with some of the partners that we're working with at the moment. Right, let's go on to the next question. This is actually one of my favorite question. What percentage of money invested in the UK is given to female founders? Obviously, this question is explicitly trying to address the startup scene and what's happening in the startup scene at the moment. So let's start this question. Again, if you can go to live.voxvote.com and the same PIN number, and we can start getting an idea of what you think about this. Interesting results coming through. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds to vote. So we've had 17, 18. Oh, I reckon we can get to 20. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, we can get to 20. 19, pushing the bar. Okay, I'm going to call it there. Yes, you have got that fundamentally correct. However, the figures around this are even more frightening than the less than 10% figure. In fact, I'm going to go back to the room and I'm going to ask in the chat, can anybody tell me in the chat, without Googling it, this is a test, guys, come on, this is going to be fun. Can anyone tell me what percentage it is? So Victoria Mackay is saying 3%, Alana's saying 2%, Laura Kenny's saying 1%, Thomas saying 3%, 4%, 8%, 1%. Okay, amazing. Right, well, the very, very sad answer to this question is 1%. 1% of every, so 1 penny in every pound in the UK is invested in an all-female set of founders. I have to say that for me is absolutely disgraceful and frightening. And frequently that figure, let's go back, excuse me, that figure is one of the most distressing figures about women in tech. The reason being is because, again, in my opinion, when you are creating startup scenes and you're creating businesses, it's really important to have really strong female representation. It's really important to support female business owners and female founders. And as a former female founder, I can't tell you the additional hurdles and the additional barriers you are going to face in being able to fund. A lot of people have said, oh, you know, those things, a lot of those things are psychological. I hate to say it, but looking at the statistics seem to prove that there is a lack of money, not just a lack, a complete injustice going on in terms of the amount of money that's invested to female founders. Does anybody, I'm going to go back to the chat, does anybody know the reason why this might be? Has anybody given any thought to the reason why women are receiving such, less funding vis-a-vis men? Let me go back to Hopin. Oh, this is fun. There you go. So Casey said, how does it compare to male startups? Well, men receive 99p in every pound, so 99%, and women receive the 1%. So Claire's saying lack of confidence and lack of opportunity. Victoria's saying women don't like to discuss money. We've got interesting. Evie says it's men who make the decisions on who gets funding. Yeah. Okay, well, the truth is there's far more female founders out there and female businesses than women are often given credit for. It's far more balanced than you might think. That a lot of people say women don't start businesses; they just don't exist. Female-led businesses don't exist. It's complete lies. There are a lot of female founders, a lot of female businesswomen, and a lot of women that actively go and run for funding. It is completely daunting having to go through funding rounds. You are quizzed, you are, you name it, you'll go through it. So you do have to have a lot of confidence to do it. I think I've seen a lot of women do that and go through that. I'm not sure that whether confidence is the issue. I think it's more around perception, so the perception of women. I also think it's more around the extent to which, as you've said in the chat box, somebody said that the investment world is mainly male. And people tend to invest in things that they can relate to. They tend to invest in things that either remind them of themselves or look like themselves. So what you're seeing in the startup world is a reflection of the investment community. There are not many investors out there that are focused particularly on women. You're going to see the same, I believe, when it comes to ethnic diversity as well. So you're going to see a lot of startups that fall by the wayside, run, for example, by people from ethnic minorities, because they're simply not able to get the funding. So at the moment, unfortunately, I think the startup scene is very dominated, and the investment's very dominated by men who are white. So we need to start changing those figures. We need to start investing in female businesses, because for me, this is one of the biggest injustices, I think, of the gender tech imbalance at this moment in time. Right, let's go back to my slides. Amazing, right. Next question, what are the biggest factors that inhibit women in technology? And if we go to our voting screen and go to the next question and start that live, you will see 4 options. You will see confidence, culture, lack of role models, or education. So let's start looking at what you think. Interesting, okay. I'm going to leave that 30 more seconds. Ten more seconds. Okay, we're going to close it there. Super, super interesting. And one of the reasons for this, so you've obviously picked culture as what you perceive the top reason to be. This is somewhat of a trick question because it's all 4. And when you, look at tons of studies and research into this, these are the 4 most common cited reasons that are inhibiting women in technology. I just wanted to ask somebody in chat who voted for culture and why did you vote? Could you maybe write in chat as to why you did that? We're not getting any response. That's okay. That's all right. Typically, people say culture because obviously this sense of a boys' club can inhibit the extent to which we support each other's behaviours. And culture and behaviour and supporting each other are one of the most critical things for making somebody feel comfortable and able to perform in a role or in an organisation or in the startup scene. Oh, here we go. We've got some from We've got some, got some interesting comments. So Alana says, my husband is a software developer and seeing him with his co-workers chatting tech is intimidating. I entirely agree, Alana. However, Alana, are you a coder? Because I do think if you do a little bit of coding and you can do a bit of some of our courses, I guarantee that will completely disappear. I felt exactly the same the first time I managed an engineering team. And I wanted to learn the basics of coding just so I could understand the building blocks and how to manage that engineering team. So Jen says, I voted for culture because it's male dominated and it's a boys club. I'm with you there, Jen. Alana, it's all men. I voted for culture as it's male dominated and women don't seem to be in STEM subjects. Okay. See, this is interesting. I voted for culture because the environment won't reflect you and it won't accommodate you and I won't fit. Do you know what? That, I would say, Zinzil, is probably the strongest reason why we need to help women break in, and we need to work with organizations to break these barriers down. I 100% agree with you. Women sometimes feel like they're just not going to fit. So we have to be able to help them and support them in thinking they're going to fit. Okay, amazing. Let me go back to the presentation. One thing that I wanted to say to you is, you know, we run loads of mentoring schemes to help women in technology and to kind of help break down those barriers. And one thing I wanted to talk to you about in this sense of support and talking to a lot of young women, I find in particular, women seem to think when they go into mentorship schemes or they look to other women that have achieved success in this space, that they're some sort of superhero. So we got this quote from one of the participants in our mentorship scheme that's gone on to do incredibly well in technology. And she said, I expected to meet a superhero / different species. That really makes me laugh. I love that point. But I met amazing women with different life stories that could actually support each other. So one message I would kind of leave you with today is being human is incredibly important, and opening yourself up, but also listening to other people's stories to help support you through that process. So for example, I had a mentor in my 20s, and it was actually a guy. That's incredibly positive, I think, when you have a male mentor or a female mentor. But this sense of me thinking he was some sort of superhero, and once he sat me down and he told me his stories about how he'd failed in life. And that was so important for me to hear, because there's plenty of people, I think, both men and women in technology who are at the top, who have failed. And in discussing those stories, I think can be more human and we can learn so much from them. So don't be afraid to talk about failure. Don't be afraid to find a mentor in the industry that can help you. And don't be afraid to kind of open yourself up to that process, because it really is about how authentic and how human you are and how much, you know, other people are willing to give that of themselves. Let me, wanted to tell you before we leave about Codefest. Codefest is Code First Girl's biggest annual event. It will be happening throughout the month of September. The idea behind it is we are trying to bring together all of the women in tech, all of our community and all of our university partners at the same time as all of our clients. As I'm sure you know, September is, I think, quite a depressing month, where usually it's quite an exciting month. I mean, you have freshers fairs, you have grad recruitment fairs, you have, you know, all of these workplace fairs. What we want to do is we want to consolidate that into a month of activity. So this month of activity will include, you know, big talks. It will include hiring events. where you can meet employers directly. You can learn about how to search for jobs, the type of open jobs that are on offer. You can learn about how to apply for those jobs and what an amazing application form might look like in a particular industry or for particular companies. And you can also learn how to interview and how to interview with confidence. We're doing some big tech challenges as well. So we're doing a data challenge in association with Rolls-Royce, where we're asking you to hack and visualize data. And we're doing a big hack challenge as well. All of this will take place through September. And if you want to sign up, I strongly encourage you to do so. This is the overview. If you want to sign up, please go to our website and go to Codefest 2020, and you'll be able to sign up for our event. There we go. Perfect. This is our website, codefestgirls.org.uk. I'm going to open the floor up to questions now. Does anybody have any questions? We've got 2 minutes left, 2 whole minutes. Oh, wow. We've got people already signing up for Codefest. They've already signed up. That's great. Jen says, I credit Codefest girls for getting into technology. That's really, really kind of you. Evie, that's really kind as well. If I hadn't have taken this route and done a Codefest Girls course, I've experienced that women can code firsthand. Right, Jen. Can you join Codefest Girls if you're older and not in uni? I did a course at uni, but that was a while ago. Yes, Jen, you can. Please join us. Please join our community. We have an offering for women that aren't at university or aren't in the bracket that I described before, called Career Switchers. And they are active certifications that enable you to get onto our more advanced study. The more advanced study is the study that will allow you to get a job. So if you go to our Career Switcher option in the courses in the left-hand corner of the screen, you will be able to take a course with us. Regardless of whether you take a course, you can still join our community and you can still hear about all the jobs that we have going, all of the events which are free and open. Okay, Falmata, I already signed up. Do we need a telephone interview? You can sign up to Codefest for 3 whole weeks of the schedule completely for free. You can get involved in that. There's no kind of entry criteria. For week 3 of the program, which is specifically around Career Nav, and Career Nav is where you are given, like, in sort of group small workshop tutorials about how to apply for their roles, the jobs they have open, and how to interview with them. For that, we do have an application process, but you can apply for the process, and we will give you an interview before you're put into that very specialized Career Nav week, because that unfortunately is by invite only, because we have to do it in small workshops and we have a huge amount of demand. Louise, I'm halfway through a Python course right now. Very excited. Great. I will be too, Louise. Where do I want to start if I want to get into machine learning or data science? SQL. Casey, 100% get on our SQL course. That is the foundation for what we're about to release, which is both our data science and our data engineering track. I believe within the our data track later on, if you do want to progress further, we have options on machine learning as well. But for now, make sure you get your SQL certification, because that will enable you to go on further, and it's frequently the foundation that employers are looking for. Just going through any more of the questions. Portia, get on the Career Switcher course. Again, that certification will enable you to go and take on our further study, and also enable you to be screened for jobs as well. Denise, same thing. Okay. Where can I get the SQL certification? Yeah, Codefest girls. Like I said, if you fall into the bracket I initially gave, you can do it for free. If you fall outside of that and you're a career switcher like Portia and Denise, for example, what you're going to have to do is go on a career switcher course, which we offer on our courses side of the website. But please go and check that out, because that's a certification you can take to become a data engineer or a data scientist. Okay, do Codefest girls have many partners in the Northeast, particularly in the Yorkshire area? So many businesses appear to be London-based. Do you know what, Lauren? So number one is, if you go on our universities tab on our website, you'll see that we work with universities up and down the country. It's really not like just London-based. It's all over the country. We are asked all the time by companies. We're doing a hiring drive in this area of the country. Can you support us with that? So being based in the Northeast, you know, it actually could be an incredibly positive thing. The majority of employers right now that we're coming across are hiring outside of London. So for example, we frequently get requests around Edinburgh, Manchester, Bristol. We know that there's some big clients based in Newcastle, for example. So I don't think that's a bad thing. But if you're open to relocation and one of those cities are interesting for you, I actually think there's a huge amount of opportunity open to women. Is the Career Switcher course open to degree level educated people? It's open to absolutely anybody. You don't need any background to start our Career Switcher courses, and you don't need any degree either. So yeah, it's completely open. Sorry, I missed the beginning. What is the bracket? The bracket is 18 to 23 in full-time education, or have been in full-time education less than 2 years ago. And that's for our free courses. The Career Switcher courses is any age group outside of that. Can I still apply? I'm turning 24 in a few weeks. I think, Casey, you might be all right. The difficulty we've got going at the moment is that we have such a huge number of women applying. To give you an idea, we have 5 applications for every space on our free courses. So some women are choosing to do the Career Switcher courses anyway because they just really, really want those certifications. What I would suggest is, if you're interested and you want a taster and you want a guaranteed way to maybe get on these courses, do our mass open online courses, which are an hour to 90 minutes long. They're completely open, they're completely free, and it will give you a really good idea of what is Python, what is SQL, what is front-end development. Okay, amazing. Okay, I'm going to take one more question. We'll take 2 more. How women manage to get jobs in tech after doing Career Switcher courses? Do I have data on that? So increasingly, what employers are doing is working our certifications into their screening and selection criteria. So, for example, if you've done a Codefest Girls course, I know a lot of our partner companies will be more likely to use that as a way of demonstrating that you have an interest in technology and you've also learned about coding as well. Our Career Switcher courses and the courses I'm talking about at the moment, the fundamental courses, are going to act as the primary mechanism by which you can apply for our more advanced education, which we'll be releasing in 2021, which is a 12-week program. At the end of those programs, the employability rate is absolutely sky high, and we talk to our partners as to who has available jobs and what jobs can be had after that 12-week program. We specialize in 2 areas: software and data. So that's data scientists and data engineers. So the initial Career Switcher certifications and the free courses, if you are eligible, are the foundation for the next stage of the education, but they're very much needed in order to take that next step. it's very hard to get a job after these courses. The market is crazy competitive. I agree. However, they're building blocks, right? So they're building blocks for our selection criteria. We know they're building blocks for several companies now and their own selection criteria. But I think the most important thing that we can give you is, how do we help you get to the next level? How do we provide you with more practical advice? Codefest is a really big example of that, how we connect you with companies. We need to take that to the next level now. So Codefest girls, our absolute priority is, how do we not just educate you, but start to connect you with industry and help you to build those building blocks. I'm so sorry, I have to go. I've gone way over my time and I think I'm going to be told off. But thank you very, very much. Please check us out on the website. And please take a free course if you're eligible. If not, check out the Career Switcher courses. Come to Codefest so that you can meet employers. Get involved in our challenges, our hacks, our data events, which are happening throughout September, and the applications will open shortly. And finally, look out for 2021, where we will be releasing a major level of free education for women that want to compete with computer science degree students at job interviews. Thank you very much.